Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the 814 Sports Report. We apologize for not being with you last week. We had some technical difficulties.
The power outage. Everybody
power
saw
outage.
it.
The great outage of 2026, completely pitch black at Erie News. Now, alongside Logan Lepiscopo, I'm Chris Sohl. So, Logan, it's been 2 weeks, and two of our regional teams unfortunately go down in the playoffs. The Buffalo Sabres losing Game 7 to the Montreal Canadiens, and the Cleveland Cavaliers getting swept in the Eastern Conference Finals by my New York Knicks. So we'll start first with the Buffalo Sabres. I had the pleasure of being there at all their home games. And Logan, as I'm sure you've experienced in Buffalo with the Bills, one of the most passionate fan bases.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I think fans were even just happy they made the postseason. Obviously, the joy just continued with being the 1 seed, getting out of the first round, taking Montreal to 7 games. Like, that very passionate fan base, I think that probably gives them some hope for the Bills this season, which we'll talk about all of our teams coming up with training camps. But yeah, passionate fan base, they show out. Montreal also, I mean, they pack the Bell Center, the streets of Montreal.
Two of the best in sports,
like
Habs and Sabres.
Like, it's incredible to see them. But obviously you being there in person to witness the moments, just kind of, I guess, walk the people through that Game 7, maybe the whole entire series, just maybe what went wrong for Buffalo at the end.
Yeah, so as I'm sure our beautiful viewing audience knows, Philip Ward is a big Buffalo fan. I've talked to him about this multiple times. But as you mentioned, Logan, getting the playoffs kind of unexpected. You know, you're playing with house money at that point. But once the Sabres really took care of the Bruins with ease, I'd say it took 6 games, but I think Buffalo was in control for the majority of that series. I think Sabres fans were like, okay, we're here. We can play with these guys. And you could kind of feel the nervous energy rising. I think the energy from Game 1 to 2 to 5 to 7, all in Buffalo, the energy just slowly raised throughout those games. In Game 7, Canadians take an early 2-0 lead, and you could just feel the nerves in the building. The fans were kind of quiet, sitting on the edge of their seat. Buffalo played a great game. The Canadians were up 2-0, and then after that, Buffalo really took over. They were by far the better team, nearly doubled the Canadian shots on goal. That's been a theme for Montreal. They're only generating like 12, 13 shots on goal a game. Buffalo ties it late. Rasmus Dahlin, a beautiful goal. The Sabres scored to take the lead, but there was a quick whistle. I'm sure Sabres fans are still having nightmares about that. Goalie Jakub Dobich held the puck for about a second or two. They blew the whistle quick. It was still loose. Goal did not count. We go to overtime, and just kind of a fluky wrist shot beats Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen. Unfortunate there. He was very emotional in the locker room. All the guys were. But, Logan, this is a young team, one of the youngest in the NHL. Them and the Canadians were actually the 2 youngest playoff teams. There's so much to be excited about, and we talked about it on the Sunday Sports Blitz last week. The Sabres only have a couple of things they need to address. Number one, you got to figure out what you're doing in net, right? You can't keep going back between Alex Lyon and UPL. I don't think you're going to bring Alex Lyon back. He kind of has these hot and cold streaks. Yeah. It's not consistent enough. So I don't think you bring him back. I think you stick with UPL for now, but he's not your true bona fide starter. And if we know anything about playoff hockey, you don't need an elite goaltender, but you need somebody who you can throw between the pipes and get the job done. So that is number one for me. Zach Benson, he has just emerged as a fan favorite, a great player, a playoff performer. He can score, he can defend. He's like a little gnat. People call him Brad Marchand already. The kid's 21 years old. He just turned 21. But yeah, time's looking up for the Sabres. They have a young nucleus of players. I think Rasmus Dahlin's probably going to win the Norris Trophy this year as the NHL's best defenseman. Phenomenal all season long. Stepped it up even bigger time in the playoffs. His first time in the playoffs, obviously. The Sabres' first time in a decade and a half. But truly a blessing to be there. Such an incredible environment. The fans were so great. And a series that they were really competitive in, and I think ultimately they probably should have won Game 7.
Yeah, I think you look at the series now where Montreal is at the time we're talking down 3-1, like
getting dominated, but Carolina has taken that over.
Yeah, you're wondering if maybe Buffalo could have been a little bit more competitive, but like you said, young core, a lot to look forward to. Lindy Ruff, they signed to an extension, so he gets to kind of build upon this unexpected season. I think there's a lot to be excited about. I don't know if you go back to being the number 1 seed, but I think there's, probably strong chance you're back in the postseason being competitive again. I think that what they did from December on is going to be very tough to replicate.
But they're also not going to start the season out at 500 hockey
This is very true.
for the first couple months. So if you
Hopefully-
average that out, maybe you'll end up somewhere around. But you also have to decide, what are they going to do with Alex Tuch, right? Obviously, pointless against Montreal. Fans were very upset, and for a guy who's going to command potentially 8 figures a season, he played well, especially in Game 7. I saw a little bit of extra oomph from him, but you need a guy, if he's making $10 million a year, he's got to score points. Regardless of how well you play, you need to put the puck in the net, or at least find somebody who's going to put the puck in the net.
Absolutely.
So that's a decision they have to make. Now, we'll go to the NBA. Cleveland Cavaliers, they won 2 Game 7s in round 1 and round 2. But then they ran into the New York Knicks.
I'll let you have your couple minutes here.
No, actually, you go first. You from an outsider, and then I'll toot my own. Well, not my own horn, my team's own horn. What did you see from that series? Really, I mean, I don't think I'm crazy. A non-competitive series.
No, I mean you could see the Cavs actively giving up during games. They pointed out in the broadcast a couple times, like, guys were jogging, weren't getting back on defense, like giving the Knicks opportunities. But the Knicks got hot at literally the perfect time. What, 10 straight, 11 straight now? What is it?
It's 10 straight playoff games. They have the largest point differential heading into the NBA Finals in NBA history. All these numbers. And for a team that less than a decade ago had 17 wins, was at the basement, you couldn't even name the players on their roster. This is a blessing for Knicks fans. But before I get to do my part, what did you think about Kenny Atkinson? You had the analytical quote that went viral,
stupid.
Whatever that quote. Then you had James Harden talking about, I thought we were the better team, and I thought I played great defense. It was great. I think he had like 12 points in Game 4. Just your thoughts on how the Cavs, I guess, not only played in the series, but the way they addressed the media following an embarrassing sweep.
Yeah, first the media, because I'll be the quickest to get through. Just dumb how you handled it. Like, you lost. You obviously weren't the better team because they won 4 straight, twice on your home floor. Like, by a good margin.
37 points in a closeout game. I don't know what analytical thing you're looking at that's telling you you're winning that game.
Like, you should have known everything was going downhill when you blew that 21, 22-point lead, and it went into overtime. Like, you should have known then, but it's interesting how I don't know if Cleveland makes the postseason, at least makes it to the Eastern Conference Finals without James Harden, but then James Harden disappears. It's like the good old Avatar, like he vanished when they needed him most. I mean, Donovan Mitchell was doing everything he could.
They scored like 25 a game. I mean, what else can you ask for?
Even your bigs down low, like Jarrett Allen, Evan Mobley. I think also what was missing for Cleveland is they were down big in games, so they couldn't get those bench guys in that had been pouring, like a Max Strus off the bench. Like, they couldn't get those guys going.
Their shooters got cold. Like, Sam Merrill couldn't hit water if he fell out of a boat towards the end of that series. Strus. And these were the guys that in rounds 1 and 2, when the Cavs were down in series, or as a Game 7, Sam Merrill had like 23 points in Game 7 against the Pistons. Dean Wade was coming through. Max Strus, as you mentioned. These guys were... The problem was the Cavs got down so early that they just basically lost hope right away. And then when you're on your home floor and you have 42% of the tickets bought by people who are residents of New York and New Jersey, how are you supposed to get the crowd in it when, number one, 40% of the crowd is not even rooting for your team, and number 2, you're down by 35 points in the second quarter? I mean, what are you supposed to do?
I think my biggest takeaway from the Knicks winning 4-0, and I didn't realize this because, number 1, not that big into basketball, but number 2, like, don't watch the Knicks, simply. Brunson turning down the money that he could have got.
$113 million.
Like, $113 million, you look at probably majority of the NBA, they're taking that contract and not thinking twice about it. I mean, they don't build this team without him not taking that contract. Like, you don't acquire Cat. You're not able to get certain guys extensions. Like, that, I feel like that's such a overlooked point because everyone's focused on how good he played and the team played. Like, the team's not there if he doesn't do what he did a few years ago.
Yeah, that's a big headline. One thing I'll say about that is I've heard rumblings that he took a pay cut to eventually get paid more down the. I don't know. I don't know how NBA money works. But point is,
that might pay off for him too.
Point is, you're right in the sense that you were able to extend OG Anunoby for $215 million. You were able to acquire Cat. You were able to acquire and re-sign Mikal Bridges, who also took a pay cut, who also was trashed by myself included all regular season because we traded 5 first-round picks for this guy. Was absolutely terrible. He has turned it up a notch. But one thing that I want to bring up that I think is actually really fascinating, Landry Shamet, random guy off the bench.
Never heard of him
Most
before.
people have never heard of him unless you're a Knicks fan. He broke the record for the highest three-point percentage in an NBA series of all time. I mean, he only went 12 or 13, but still, pretty impressive.
Yeah.
If we remember, in the summer of 2025, Malcolm Brogdon was signed to the New York Knicks. 3 or 4 days later, he retired. That roster spot that Brogdon took up eventually landed to Landry Shamet. He signed a
interesting.
What's the word? A regular, we'll just say regular NBA contract, and now here he is breaking records in the postseason. I was excited to get Malcolm Brogdon, a guy who's been around. He's won championships. I guess he arrived in New York and decided his career was done. Landry Shamet wasn't going to make the roster. That open roster spot goes to Shamet, and now he's all over social media. And especially in that game 1, hitting that ridiculous ricochet 3 to tie the game. I mean, that's a moment that's going to live with that guy forever.
And now the Knicks get to rest up and face a Spurs Thunder team. Obviously, the time we're recording this, Thunder Spurs are currently playing in Game 6. So
Spurs are ahead.
They could either get a very tired team after a 7-game series, or they'll get a Thunder team off of a 6-game series. Chris, I'll pose it as the Knicks fan. Who would you rather have, the alien in Victor Wembanyama in the Spurs, or the reigning 2-time MVP Shea in the Thunder?
It's tough because, first of all, every NBA fan is like, it doesn't matter who the Knicks play. They've had a cupcake run to the finals. It doesn't matter. They're going to lose either way. Listen, Eastern Conference was weak. I think the Celtics losing in the first round definitely helped the Knicks. I don't think the Sixers were that great. The Cavs were not competitive. But listen, both of these teams are incredible. Victor Wembanyama, Logan, is maybe the most unicorn athlete I've ever seen in terms of his physical attributes. Sure. I think Shohei Ohtani is the biggest unicorn in all of sports because he's able to do 2 completely different skills at an elite level. But in terms of being a basketball player, there is nobody, and there might never be somebody who is as skilled as Victor Wembanyama. However, with that being said, the Thunder are just stone cold winners. They just win. And love him or hate him, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander knows how to win. He knows how to score. Whether you like that he takes free throws, whether you like the way he plays, the way he doesn't play, the goofy outfits he wears to games, he just knows how to win. And the Thunder know how to win. And they're deep, and they defend well. And every which way the Knicks have succeeded, I feel like the Thunder can kind of counter that, right? The Knicks just found out today that Mitchell Robinson has a broken pinky finger. I don't know when he's going to be available, but they have that dynamic duo of Cat and Mitch kind of rotating. Well, who do the Thunder have? Ihart and Chet. So those guys kind of counter the Knicks bigs. Personally, there's no right answer here, but I think the Spurs are so young, and I just feel like while they're a great team, they're going to be good for a very long time.
Yeah.
I feel like the Knicks, their past couple years of playoff obstacles and overcoming adversity, and they've slowly gotten better every year, going from the semis to the conference finals to now the NBA finals. I just feel like if they could be able to take advantage of that as long as they can shut down Wemby.
Yeah, I would agree. I think you'd rather face a team that hasn't been in the moment before. I mean, you kind of saw it with the Super Bowl this past year. Like, Seattle's been there before. Some of the guys on the roster had been there before. New England had never been there before. Like, Mike Vrabel went as a player a lot different when you're coaching the game and got a second-year quarterback. Like, I would definitely say you don't want to see the Thunder coming off a title.
Also, we don't want the Thunder to start this dynasty because they have all these. They're going to have a lottery pick this year. They're super young.
Yeah.
Like, there may not be a team in sports right now in a better situation for now and the future than the Oklahoma City.
That might be one of the best sports trades I've ever seen. You send off Paul George, you get SGA, and just first round pick after first round pick. Like,
Paul George will still call that a win-win trade. He's been asked about it, and he'll still be like, it's a win-win trade. But dude, I think the craziest part is here we are. We're in week 2 of the OTAs right now in the NFL. You're talking about the
wild.
Super Bowl. Super Bowl feels like it was yesterday. It feels like I was in a car for 45 hours. And now here we are. We're talking about training camp, rookie camp, OTAs, all this stuff going on and news coming out. And we're back in the NFL.
It's a great time to be back. You know, you got the Steelers with Rodgers officially back under center. Fan base is obviously very mixed on emotions on that. You got the Bills. I mean, how can you not be excited with Josh Allen as your quarterback? And then you got the Browns who, you know, they got some good pieces. It's just really figuring out the quarterback position. Is it Deshaun? Is it Shador? Like, it seems like it's between those two, and I don't know who the front runner is. It's still very early, but early reports are that they're kind of splitting the first team stuff.
Yeah, Logan, you and I went to training camp last year, but before I arrived in Erie, you were at some of the mini camp OTA stuff. Just what are some things maybe behind the scenes that people don't really get to see on the news that maybe you kind of took in from last year, your experiences there, and what do you think is really what is it all about when we're at these OTAs and such?
Well, you know me, I like to look at everything through a fantasy football lens. So I would say my first thing that
Rodgers not throwing a Pittman, he's falling down my board.
Exactly. Like very early Steelers, and you were there for this moment. Like, I was all in on Caleb Johnson. I think the dude took like 5 snaps during the whole year, and one of them was non-fielded punt that ended in a touchdown. I think the biggest thing that fans watching any clips and highlights from home and reports you're seeing, do not take them for what they are. Like, just because a player is having a good day, or you see like Aaron Rodgers do his first 7 passes of the day to Michael Pittman Jr., like, that just might be what they were designing today. They might have been running plays specifically designed for Michael Pittman Jr.
Those guys got to open. If those guys have social media, they got to open and be like, what are these people talking about?
Like,
Rodgers said it best today. He was like, it's one thing for a guy to have a good day in, you know, a helmet, a t-shirt, and shorts, but when you throw the pads on, I mean, it's all different.
Well, if you remember last year, Aaron Rodgers' first ever throw at Latrobe
I remember that.
Was a pick 6 to Patrick Queen. So, like, I'd say just don't let things immediately like consume your brain. Let them build. Like, maybe it's like a week long or like just a couple day stretch where you're like, you know, I like the red zone. I feel like that tells you a lot about what a team could be doing. Like, if Michael Pittman Jr. like you're running red zone and gets 5 touchdowns in the day, you're like, all right, that's a guy like Aaron's going to be looking to throw to this year. So I'd say don't take what you're seeing for what it is, and also like coaches will talk. We know during like draft time, smoke screens all around, like they do the same stuff in training camp. Like today, I forget who it was. There was somebody that was just being absolutely built up by their head coach. And Luther Burden for the Bears.
Oh yeah, I did see that.
Ben Johnson was like, I'm buying all his stock right now. Like, dude, it's like your second or third day of practice.
Also, it's his own coach. Like,
yeah, exactly.
His own coach is going to hype him up. Well, you have to remember, this is an evaluation time for players. These are tryouts. Like, guys get cut here. This is where teams are figuring out your offense. So for all our NFL fans out there, you know, a lot of diehard sports fans are always analyzing, you know, just sit back, enjoy what you're seeing.
Enjoy the process.
See what the team looks like with no pressure. Obviously, in Latrobe, they have the fan days. I mean, we were there last year. McAfee was there. Like, this is a time where you just enjoy watching Get the players to sign your autographs. You don't need to be Albert Einstein breaking down everything that's going on here because
Leave that to the
said
reporters.
Yes, we will send out stuff so that you click on it and believe everything we're saying. But no, Aaron Rodgers did throw a pick six. I remember you were like, I need to get this out. But that was funny stuff.
I think the most useful thing for fans to take away during this portion of the offseason, joint practices. When I went to the Steelers and Bucks joint practice before their preseason game, I could tell, like, Emeka Egbuka was going to be a problem his rookie year. Like, he was hooking Steelers defensive backs all day long.
Those are live reps. Those are live, competitive. Like, when you see a guy in another jersey, there's a notch that gets turned a little bit.
I vividly remember Jalen Ramsey and Mike Evans. Of course, those two. Button heads. Ramsey, like, first rep, incomplete pass that he broke up, got in Mike Evans' face. Next rep, they went against each other. Mike Evans baked him for a touchdown. Like, I think those moments, videos, everything you're seeing, that's the stuff to pay attention to. Wait until July when, Steelers and Bills are having a joint practice and DJ Moore goes for like a 50-yard touchdown. Like, take those for what they are, not padded team versus team drills. Because at the end of the day, like, in a team versus team drill, you're not going 100%. You're not trying to kill the dude that you need on the opposite side of the ball.
And you don't know when stuff is scripted. Like, hey, we're going to have, like you've mentioned before, we're going to run a play that's targeted towards Michael Pittman.
Exactly.
We're going to see if it works well, whatever. One thing I will say, like, for you, you were a big Caleb Johnson fan, kind of teetering on the roster. If there's a particular player that, you've kind of fallen in love with or you've enjoyed following, maybe he went to your college or whatever, and he's kind of a fringe player, tracking what the kind of perception is of him on Twitter and what people are saying, I think is valuable because, throughout training camp and OTAs, if a player isn't doing well, maybe he's not, like when Caleb Johnson went from first team reps to third team, like that has a little bit of meaning. When there's titles being attached to where a player is performing, first team, second team, if a guy is dropping down the depth chart, or something's released, that has a little bit of validity to it.
I'm glad you said depth chart. I think that's when you really start paying attention. Once those first unofficial depth charts are released, you get a real sense of what was happening before fans were able to attend these camps. For example, like if a rookie is able to shoot up into the number 2 receiver spot or like number 3 receiver spot, whatever their draft situation is, you're like, oh wow, I was not expecting him to be a starter to begin the season. Like, for example, the Steelers, Max Eichenahor, like he could be one of the starting tackles. You don't know right now though, because everyone's speculating he's going to back somebody up. So depth charts, joint practices, don't believe all the fluff that's sent out by people.
We're still very deep in the offseason, and I know NFL fans are very passionate and very excited to see their team, but the Super Bowl was only a couple months ago, so hold your horses there. All right, Logan, couple minutes left here. It's crazy because when I got here a year ago, high school sports were over, and now we're almost at that point. Baseball is coming to an end. It's been a crazy one-year circle for me, but district champions named on Memorial Day, baseball and softball, and I don't think there's any better way to start this than talking about Mercyhurst Prep baseball because they had maybe the most, out of all the sports I've shot here, maybe the most improbable win I've ever seen in the 2A semifinal against Wilmington. So here's
the picture.
Here's what's going on, folks. Neck and neck game throughout. Wilmington was the 4 seed, Mercyhurst Prep the 1 seed. Mercyhurst Prep is down 7-6 in the bottom of the 7th, only seven inning games. There's 2 out. It's a 3-2 count. Nobody is on base. Whoever was up to bat works a walk, or there was 2 hit by pitches and 1 walk. So now the bases are loaded, bases are loaded, still 2 out. And Noah Regal hits a walk-off 2-run double to win the game. Maybe, like, statistically, if you're looking at that ESPN whatever win probability, like 99.9% Wilmington. Randy Turkowski, who's been coaching for years upon years, he's seen a lot. He said that was probably the craziest game he's ever been a part of. And then they waltz their way into the championship game and dominate Sagertown 9-1. So I guess the near loss really translated for them in the final game.
Yeah, I mean, they were good last year. I remember covering them a little bit into states before they ran out of their luck there. just a good team. Like, you got good pitchers with Hunter Cray, and apologies for not knowing the other pitching staff, but he's the only guy that, like, World Series prep games I've been to, he's been the one on the mound every single time. I know they've got other arms in the bullpen. I just worry when we get into these state playoffs, how are the bats going to turn out for them? Because
they have guys that can hit. I think they're well coached. They play really good defense. Like, they're a fundamentally sound baseball team. But speaking of pitchers, I don't know if you've had the pleasure of covering this young lady, but out of Sagertown softball, they won the 2A title, also beating Wilmington 4-0 shutout. Haley Obenrader, I was looking at her stats the other day. She has had 15 plus Ks. So I believe she's 17-3 this year. She has an ERA of like around 1. And she has like more games with 15 Ks than she doesn't. It's unbelievable. And she's a sophomore.
Wow.
A sophomore. She retired the first 12 batters in order, struck out 10 of them, and finished with 15 strikeouts in a district championship game.
That is nuts. No, I have not had the pleasure of covering her, but the softball pitchers around this area, like, they're insane. I don't know if that's just how softball is, where they rack up strikeouts, but I know at least around here in Erie County, District 10, like, they rack up the strikeouts.
Addison Lucas on Harbor Creek is fantastic. That was a great game as well. Harbor Creek won the 4A title over Fort LaBeouf. They, in the regular season, those two went at it.
I'm excited to see what Harbor Creek can do. When I first got here, June, one of my first sports stories was their send-off to the state championship, and they won the state title. So I wonder if Tim Caputo is going to be able to run it back 2 years later, because they had kind of a down year last year. Seems like they're on the back up, so that'll be an exciting one to follow.
Their first district title since 2017, but I think, unfortunately for Cathedral Prep fans, General McLean winning in the 4A title was a big-time upset over Prep.
Yeah, that was pretty impressive. You got to give it. I know a lot of people are still on this public versus private school stuff, but like Joe McLean, they just showed that they can hang with those private school programs. They're another one. Like, the fact they made it to the state tournament, awesome. I hope they can continue to move on.
Yeah, and listen, I'm not a big baseball guy, but it is truly fun, because when you're shooting baseball, you're right behind home plate. You can kind of hear all of the chitter-chatter between the umps and the players and stuff, and it's been really fun. So the state playoffs will begin next week on Monday, I believe. We've had the district titles. Time is flying by. We'll have all of those baseball and softball stuff. And, of course, the Erie Seawolves in the thick of their season, kind of turning things around, sitting around 500 right now. We'll see what they can do. But we thank you for tuning in to another episode of the 814 Sports Report.